Hey everyone, especially all you AI developers and product managers out there. You're constantly trying to make your LLMs smarter, faster, more accurate, right? Well, if that's you, you are in exactly the right place. Let's get into it.
This is the big one. It's the core question that pretty much every single one of us building with AI has to answer. Do we fine-tune a model? Do we use retrieval augmented generation, RAG? Or can we just get away with some really clever prompting? And look, this isn't just some academic debate. The choice you make here has huge real-world consequences.
And the stakes are seriously high. Get this wrong, and you're looking at skyrocketing costs, terrible performance, a total nightmare to scale, and a product that, well, just doesn't work. So today, what we're going to do is build a framework to make sure you make the right call every single time. All right, so to make that choice, first we've got to understand our tools. Let's get super clear on what these three paths, prompting, fine-tuning, and RAG, actually are. Think of this as us opening up our strategic toolkit. Okay, first up, prompting. This is, square one. It's the simplest approach by far. You're not changing the model's brain at all. You're just getting really, really good at giving it instructions. It's like becoming the world's best manager for an incredibly smart but super literal assistant. And there are a bunch of ways to pull this off. You can just give a direct command, we call that zero shot, or you can give it a few examples of what you want, which is few shot. You can even get it to think step by step to improve its logic. The big win here? It's all about flexibility and speed. You can test out new ideas in seconds. Okay, next up in our toolkit, fine-tuning. This is where we go from just instructing the model to actually changing it. You're basically taking a powerful base model and retraining a part of it on your own specific private data. You're embedding that deep, niche knowledge right into its DNA. Now, here's the deal with fine-tuning. It's all about a massive trade-off. On one hand, you can get a huge 20 to 50% boost in accuracy on those super specific tasks. But yeah, it's not free. You need hundreds, maybe even thousands of really high-quality examples. Plus, there's this real risk called catastrophic forgetting, where the model gets so specialized it actually forgets some of its general knowledge. And that brings us to our third tool, RAG. So instead of trying to surgically alter the model's brain, you're just giving it a library card to an external knowledge base. It can look things up in real time, right when it's answering a question. This keeps the model grounded in what's true right now, without needing constant retraining. So how does this magic work? Well, it's all about these things called vector databases. They let the system find the exact piece of information it needs instantly, which is, absolutely brilliant for cutting down on those pesky hallucinations. The catch? That lookup step takes a little time, so it adds a bit of latency to your responses. Okay, we know what they are. Now let's put them head to head. This is where we really get into the nitty-gritty, comparing the trade-offs in cost, speed, accuracy, and all that good stuff. This is where the rubber meets the road. This table right here lays it all out perfectly. Prompting? It's cheap, it's fast, it's super flexible, but you might take a hit on accuracy. Fine-tuning? That's your ticket to top-tier accuracy, but it's expensive and not very flexible. Once it's trained, it's pretty much set in stone. And then you've got RAG, sitting in that sweet spot right in the middle, giving you a great balance of high accuracy and high flexibility for a medium cost. Okay, let's actually see what that accuracy difference looks like. If we say basic prompting is our starting point, our baseline, look at that jump you get with both RAG and fine-tuning. The takeaway here is pretty clear. If you're dealing with really specialized stuff, just prompting probably isn't going to cut it. You can see how much better your results can get. But, okay, accuracy is one thing. What about speed? A fine-tuned model is just as quick as a base model. RAG, though, has that extra retrieval step. And if your RAG system isn't optimized, yeah, it can feel slow. But, and this is a really big but, a modern optimized RAG system can be lightning fast, easily staying under that half-second mark that users expect. Performance is one thing, but let's be honest, at the end of the day, the budget often makes the final decision for us. So let's get practical. Let's talk real money and break down what these systems actually cost to run. So let's cook up a simple but totally realistic scenario. Imagine a small app doing about 10,000 queries every month, and it's using a nice, efficient model like GPT-4o Mini. How do the costs shake out? First, let's just stick with prompting. If you go this route, the cost to run this thing is, well, it's basically nothing. We're talking about the price of a single cup of coffee per month. It's incredibly cheap. Okay, now let's add RAG into the mix. The cost definitely goes up.
You're paying for bigger prompts stuffed with that extra context and for the vector database itself. I mean, it's still super affordable, but you can see that it's a real jump from just prompting.
And then there's fine-tuning. While the per-query cost is low, that upfront investment is in a completely different universe. You're talking thousands of dollars for data labeling, for compute time, and that's all before your app has even answered a single question from a user. So with all these different trade-offs, how on earth do you actually decide? All right, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Here is a simple, step-by-step flowchart to guide you straight to the right strategy for your specific project. So let's actually walk through this together. First thing you ask, is my data always changing? Think news feeds, support tickets. If yes, you should be leaning heavily towards RAG. Next, what's your goal? Do you need killer accuracy on a very specific style or task and the data doesn't change? Fine-tuning is probably your answer. And of course, money. If you're just building a prototype or you're on a tight budget, always start with prompting. Just follow these steps and it makes the choice way more logical. Okay, so that's the framework, but let's make this real. Let's look at how these choices actually play out in some common applications that we all see and use every day. The whole game is just matching the right tool to the right job. You need to whip up some quick content or maybe a simple prototype? Yeah, prompting is your best friend. Building a super specialized tool like Bloomberg GPT for finance or an AI that helps doctors with diagnoses, that needs the deep, baked-in knowledge that only fine-tuning can provide. But for anything, and I mean anything, that has to know what's going on right now, like a customer support bot using the latest FAQs, RAG is the undisputed champion. So look, if you walk away with just one thing today, let it be this. You prompt when you need speed and simplicity. You fine-tune when you need absolute depth in a world that doesn't change. And you choose RAG when your world is always changing and you need to be dynamic. And that really leaves us with one final critical question you should take back to your team. In a world where information changes by the second, keeping your AI up to date isn't a nice-to-have anymore, it's an absolute necessity. So take a hard look at your projects and ask yourself, is the strategy you're using today built for yesterday's data, or is it actually ready for tomorrow?